The saga of the Roman Empire is one of the most compelling narratives in human history, spanning over a millennium and leaving an indelible mark on Western civilization. From a small, insignificant settlement on the Tiber River, Rome expanded into a colossal empire, a testament to its people's ambition, military prowess, and remarkable capacity for organization and innovation. The Republic's foundations and early expansion, c. 753 BC, 264 BC. Rome's story traditionally begins with its mythical founding in 753 BC by the twin brothers Romulus and Remus. For the first 2.5 centuries, Rome was a monarchy, ruled by a succession of 7 kings. However, around 509 BC, tired of the tyrannical rule of the last king, Lucius Tarquinius Superbus, the Roman aristocracy overthrew the monarchy and established a republic. This new Roman form of government, derived from res publica, public affair, was characterized by a complex system of elected magistrates, primarily 2 annually chosen consuls and a powerful senate, initially composed of aristocratic patricians. The early republic was a period of intense internal struggle between the patricians and the plebeians, the common citizens. The plebeians, despite forming the backbone of the Roman army and economy, initially lacked political rights. Through centuries of persistent agitation, including secessions where they would withdraw from the city, plebeians gradually gained concessions. Key milestones included the creation of the office of the tribune of the plebs, who could veto laws harmful to plebeian interests, and the codification of Roman law in the 12 Tables, c. 451 BC, making laws publicly accessible and uniform. These reforms strengthened the Republic and forged a more unified Roman citizenry. Simultaneously, Rome began its outward expansion. Its highly disciplined and adaptable legions systematically conquered its Latin neighbors, then the formidable Samnites, securing control over the entire Italian peninsula by 272 BC. This expansion was not merely through conquest, but also through strategic alliances and the incorporation of conquered peoples, offering varying degrees of Roman citizenship. This ability to integrate rather than simply dominate was a crucial factor in Rome's enduring strength. 2. The zenith of the Republic. Mediterranean dominance and internal strife, 264 BC, 31 BC. With Italy united, Rome's ambitions inevitably turned outwards. Its greatest rival in the Western Mediterranean was Carthage, a wealthy Phoenician city-state located in modern-day Tunisia. The 3 Punic Wars, 264 to 146 BC, were epic struggles that tested Rome's resolve to its core. The First Punic War was primarily a naval conflict over Sicily, showcasing Rome's remarkable ability to build a navy from scratch and adapt to new forms of warfare. Its victory gained Rome its first overseas provinces. The Second Punic War, 218 to 201 BC, was arguably the most famous, featuring the brilliant Carthaginian general Hannibal Barca, who famously marched elephants over the Alps and inflicted devastating defeats on Roman armies at Trebia, Trasimene, and Cannae. Despite these catastrophic losses, Rome's resilience, strategic genius, notably that of Scipio Africanus, who eventually defeated Hannibal at Zama, and its network of loyal Italian allies prevented its collapse. Rome's victory cemented its naval and land supremacy in the Western Mediterranean. The Third Punic War, 149–146 BC, was a brutal affair that culminated in the complete destruction of Carthage, famously salted to prevent its resurgence. By the mid-2nd century BC, Rome was the undisputed master of the Mediterranean. However, this vast expansion brought immense internal pressure. The influx of vast wealth, particularly from conquered territories and vast numbers of slaves, created a growing divide between the wealthy elite and the impoverished masses. Small farmers, the backbone of the Republic's citizen soldiers, were often ruined by long military service or unable to compete with large slave-run estates. This led to a dispossessed urban proletariat and chronic social unrest, Attempts at reform, like those by the Gracchi brothers in the late 2nd century BC, who sought to redistribute land, were met with violent opposition from the conservative elite and ended in their assassinations. The loyalty of the army also shifted from the Republic to individual generals who could promise land and plunder. This combustible mix ignited a century of devastating civil wars, featuring figures like Marius and Sulla, and ultimately leading to the rise of the man who would irrevocably change Rome, Julius Caesar. Caesar, a brilliant general and charismatic politician, achieved immense fame through his conquest of Gaul, modern-day France. His growing power, however, threatened the traditional republican order, leading to civil war against his former ally, Pompey the Great. Caesar's decisive victory left him as the sole dominant figure in Rome. Declaring himself dictator for life, he introduced widespread reforms, but his autocratic tendencies fueled fears of a return to monarchy. In 44 BC, a group of senators, including Brutus and Cassius, assassinated him, hoping to restore the Republic. Instead, they plunged Rome into another, even more destructive, civil war. The third, the birth of the Empire and the Pax Romana, 31 BC, 180 AD. The power vacuum left by Caesar's death was filled by the Second Triumvirate, Mark Antony, Marcus Lepidus, and Caesar's adopted heir, Octavian. After eliminating their Republican opponents, tensions flared between Octavian and Antony. The final showdown came at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC, where Octavian decisively defeated Antony and Cleopatra. This victory left Octavian as the undisputed master of the Roman world. In 27 BC, Octavian, with remarkable political acumen, formally restored the Republic, but in reality subtly amassed all significant powers to himself. The Senate bestowed upon him the honorific title of Augustus, marking the official transition from Republic to Empire. Augustus established the Principate, a system where he was the princeps, first citizen, maintaining the facade of republican institutions while wielding ultimate authority. His long and astute reign ushered in the Pax Romana, Roman peace, a period of unparalleled peace and prosperity that lasted for over 2 centuries. During the Pax Romana, the empire reached its greatest territorial extent under emperors like Trajan, 98–117 AD, stretching from Britain to Mesopotamia. Roman engineering flourished, producing magnificent infrastructure such as the vast network of roads, impressive aqueducts, and iconic structures like the Colosseum and Pantheon. Roman law was systematized and refined, forming the basis for many modern legal systems. Roman culture, including Latin language, literature, and art, spread throughout the vast dominion, creating a cohesive yet diverse imperial identity. The Roman army, a highly professional and effective fighting force, secured the borders and maintained internal order, allowing trade and cultural exchange to thrive. Before the crisis of the 3rd century and imperial reorganization, 180 AD, 395 AD. The golden age of the Pax Romana began to wane after the death of Marcus Aurelius in 180 AD. The 3rd century AD plunged the empire into a turbulent period known as the Crisis of the 3rd Century, 235–284 AD. This Roman era was characterized by a perfect storm of challenges. External pressures, intensified barbarian incursions along the vast frontiers from Germanic tribes in the west and the Sasanian Empire in the east, severely strained Roman resources. Internal instability, rapid succession of barracks emperors, military strongmen who seized power, often through assassination, and ruled briefly before meeting similar fates. This led to near-constant civil wars, draining manpower and wealth. Economic decline. Inflation soared as emperors debased coinage to pay for armies and bribes. Roman trade routes became less secure, leading to disruptions in commerce and agriculture. Roman plague, devastating epidemics, such as the Plague of Cyprian, decimated the population, reducing tax revenues and military recruitment. The empire briefly splintered into three separate entities: the Gallic Empire in the west, the Palmyrene Empire in the east, and the core Roman Empire in Italy. While the empire was eventually reunited by emperors like Aurelian, the crisis revealed fundamental structural weaknesses. To address these challenges, Emperor Diocletian, 284–305 AD, implemented radical reforms. He established the Tetrarchy, dividing the empire into four administrative units, ruled by two senior emperors, Augusti, and two junior emperors, Caesars, hoping to improve governance and succession. He also significantly increased the size of the army, reformed the tax system, and introduced price controls. Diocletian's successor, Constantine the Great, 306–337 AD, made two momentous decisions. Firstly, he moved the capital of the empire from Rome to the strategically located city of Byzantium, which he refounded as Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul, in 330 AD. This move further solidified the division between the Latin West and the Greek East. Secondly, he issued the Edict of Milan in 313 AD, granting religious toleration to Christians, effectively ending centuries of persecution and paving the way for Christianity to become the dominant religion of the empire. The fall of the Western Roman Empire, 395 AD, 476 AD, and enduring legacy. Support us by subscribe, turn on notification, and share your favorite for more story. Thank you. Stay tuned on VIP4 channel. Despite Diocletian's and Constantine's efforts, the Western Roman Empire continued its slow, inexorable decline. The division into East and West became more pronounced, with the East, centered in Constantinople, generally wealthier and more stable. The West, with its less urbanized economy and vulnerable frontiers, faced immense pressure. From the late 4th century onwards, the situation became critical. Mass migrations of Germanic tribes, Visigoths, Vandals, Ostrogoths, Franks, etc., often fleeing the Huns from the east, poured across the Roman borders. Unlike earlier periods where Rome could assimilate or repel such groups, its weakened state meant these tribes often settled within imperial territory, eventually forming independent kingdoms. The sack of Rome by the Visigoths under Alaric in 410 AD was a profound psychological shock, the first time in 800 years that the Eternal City had fallen to a foreign enemy. Though Rome itself was not destroyed, the event symbolized the empire's vulnerability. Successive emperors in the West became little more than puppets of powerful barbarian generals. Finally, in 476 AD, the Germanic chieftain Odoacer deposed the last Western Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus. This event is traditionally considered the fall of the Western Roman Empire. While Roman institutions and culture lingered in some areas, central political authority in the West had collapsed, giving way to a patchwork of Germanic kingdoms. The Eastern Roman Empire, however, with its strong capital at Constantinople, its richer economy, and more easily defensible borders, continued to flourish as the Byzantine Empire for another 1,000 years, preserving Roman and Greek traditions until its fall to the Ottoman Turks in 1453. The legacy of the Roman Empire is immeasurable. Its innovations in law, governance, and administration provided blueprints for future states. Latin evolved into the Romance languages: Italian, French, Spanish, Portuguese, Romanian. Roman architecture and engineering marvels still inspire awe. Its literature, philosophy, and historical accounts remain cornerstones of Western thought. The very concept of citizenship, a republic, and the pursuit of law and order owe a tremendous debt to Rome. Though the Western Empire fell, its profound influence on politics, society, and culture ensures that, in many ways, the spirit of Rome continues to shape our world. We are excited to create more content for you. Your support will keep us going. Please subscribe, turn on notification, and share your favorites. Thank you. Stay tuned always VIP4 channel for more stories.